So hi everyone. Today's unit is business communications. The unit aims to develop knowledge and skills and understanding of communication theory and importance of effective communication in business. And my name's Shazia Khan. Today we'll be doing learning outcome 4, which is to understand the principles of effective internal and external communication. So the indicative content is obtaining feedback from peers and tutors, personal review of communication skills, responding to constructive criticism, listening skills and personal view of these, reading skills and personal view, skills gap, ways to improve communication, practice, training, developing planning, looking at the SMART objectives and monitoring and development plans. So 4.1 will be looking at using feedback and personal reflection, review the effectiveness of personal verbal. So first we'll look at verbal communication. So to review the effectiveness of personal verbal communication skills, individuals can use feedback and personal reflection. Here are some steps and considerations for evaluating verbal communication. Obtain feedback. Seek feedback from peers, colleagues, or tutors who have observed your verbal communication. Request specific ways of effective or how this could be improved. Personal review. So reflect on your own experiences, interactions. Also consider situations where your verbal communication was successful or faced challenges. Also, identify patterns or reoccurring issues in your verbal communication and respond to constructive criticism. So be open to constructive criticism and use it as an opportunity to improve. People sometimes think criticism is not good in regards to identifying things, but constructive criticism is very good because it helps you improve, but it focuses on providing constructive feedback, but also supported by specific examples in ways on how to improve. And with sometimes, most of the time, it's offered with good intentions. It analyzes feedback objectively and avoid becoming defensive. So constructive feedback is a feedback that provides specific, actionable suggestions rather than providing general advice. Constructive criticism gives specific recommendations on how to make positive improvement. Constructive criticism is clear, to the point, and easy to put into action. So it's not a criticism of your work, it's an opportunity for you to improve. Listening skills. These are there to evaluate your ability to actively listen during conversations, and consider how well you understand and respond to others' ideas and concerns, because it's really important to listen, because with listening you're able to identify what the individual is saying, and also be able to identify any sort of abilities to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. And listening is the key to all effective communication. You know, there's people in communication. Listening is there to help solve problems, but also resolve conflicts and improve relationships. In the workplace, effective listening contributes to fewer errors, less wasted time, and improve accuracy. So effective listening helps build friendships and careers for individuals. So listening is important in any organization in regards to trying to identify and evaluate the conversation. Reading skills. Reading skills are important because they assess your reading skills, especially in terms of comprehending and interpreting information effectively. And also trying to understand what is being said as well is important in the reading skills. Skills gap analysis. Identify any gaps or areas where improvement is needed in your verbal communication skills, and also compare your current skills to the desired level of proficiency. Ways to improve, so explore various methods for improving verbal communication, such as practicing, training, or observing effective communicators. Consider attending workshops on focus on enhanced verbal communication. Development planning. So here you need to create a personal development plan outlining your specific steps to improve verbal communication, and set realistic goals and milestones for skill enhancement. So setting these goals will help identify what your objectives are and what you intend to do, and what you intend to put forward as steps to improve. And the next one, objective setting, so the SMART objectives, which is to define specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives for improving verbal communication. And defining these parameters are there to pertain your goal, help ensure your objectives and are attainable. They are there to provide the details of how a group or organization will achieve a goal, so it's so important in regards to ensuring that the goals are set and are realistic to complete in a set time frame as well. Monitoring development plans, regularly assess progress against the development plan, adjust strategies based on feedback and personal observations, review and amend objectives, periodically review developmental objectives and make adjustments as needed, adapt goals based on changing circumstances or feedback received. So the feedback you receive, you need to adapt your goals in regards to them, because the feedback may be positive or negative. So your goals must be able to identify the feedback you've given. Written communication, and this is really important in any organization or in regards to any scenario, because you need to identify that what you are writing is identifiable. So reviewing the effectiveness of personal written communication involves a thoughtful examination of your written communication skills through feedback and personal reflection. Written communication is the exchange of information, ideas, or messages through written languages in the form of letters, emails, notes, and more. Our ability to write is transformed over time. Obtaining feedback. Request feedback from colleagues, supervisors, or peers who are experienced with your written communication. Ask for specific examples or instances where you have written communication was effective or could be improved. So maybe it could be an email, maybe it could be an example, could be a letter, maybe it could be a bulletin, a fax. Maybe you need to, be clearer so that the individual is able to understand what you are saying. Also, inquire about clarity, coherence, tone, and adherences to the intended purpose of the written communication. So these are important, so you're able to understand what is happening within the communication you have identified. Also, personal review. Personal review is very important in regards to any sort of written communication. You need to reflect a variety of written communication instances, as I mentioned earlier, such as emails, reports, memos, or other documents you've produced. You also need to consider the overall structure, organization, and flow of your written work, and identify successful written communication instances and those they may have presented challenges. You need to respond to constructive feedback, as we mentioned earlier. Approach the feedback with an open mind, understanding that it's an opportunity for improvement. So constructive feedback, again, as mentioned, is not there to put you down or anything. It's there to improve your work. And also it helps for you to get better. Analyze constructive criticism objectively, focusing on specific elements of your written communication, and consider whether there are consistent themes in the feedback that indicate areas for improvement. For example, if the feedback states that this product is not good on the skin, and you've had people identify that, a numerous amount of people, you need to identify this product is not good for the purpose it's identified for. So you need to be able to make improvements for the product. Clarity and conciseness. Evaluate how clearly and concisely you convey information in your written communication. So be it email, be it a newsletter, or be it just a general letter. Consider whether your messages are easily understandable to your target audience. Make sure that you are sending a message that identifies that what your target audience is, but make sure you are targeting your audience. For example, it may be people under the age of 21, it may be 16 plus, it may be over 50s. Make sure you are sending that message out. Areas whether you tend to use jargon or complex language that might hinder comprehension. Also the tone and style. So reflect on the tone and the style of your written communication. So the tone and the style may be the way you've written it, maybe trying to avoid being too blunt in messages and trying to be more professional in a message, because that sometimes a message can be identified and explored in a different manner. Consider whether your writing aligns with the professional tone, as I've just mentioned, expected in a business context. So make sure you're doing an email or letter and avoid using things like slang jargon, because you need to write this email or this letter in a professional manner so the other audience is able to understand it. But also there's an element of professionalism within a business. Also, identify instances where adjustments in tone or style might have been beneficial. Then grammar and mechanics. So assess your grammar, punctuation, and overall mechanics of the writing. So make sure that you are writing something and it is making sense, but make sure that you're writing something that is the grammar is and the punctuation is clear and there are not any grammatical errors. And make sure the mechanics of the writing, make sure that they're able to understand what you are writing. Identify common errors of odd areas where improvement is needed. So consider seeking feedback on specific grammatical issues if necessary. Formatting and presenting. So evaluate the formatting and presentation of your written work. Ensure that your documents are well organized and clear headings and subheadings. So, anyone reading it, anyone just picking something up is able to understand what you have written and that it makes sense to the individual. Also, consider the visual appeal and readability of your written communication. So make sure the person reading it, as we said, is able to understand what you've written, but also it's visually appealing to that person, so they're able to capture what is being written. So skill gap analysis, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, conduct a skills gap analysis to identify specific areas where improvement is needed. Compare your current written communication skills to the desired level of proficiency. Also, prioritize areas for improvement based on their impact on effective communication. Number 2, ways to improve. So explore various methods for improving written communication, such as writing workshops, editing tools, or seeking guidance from experienced writers. Practicing writing in different formats and for various audiences to enhance visibility, versatility. So, try to practice differently, try to practice meeting the needs of different audiences so you're able to capture them. Development planning. So develop a structured plan outlining actionable steps to enhance written communication. Set realistic goals, as we mentioned earlier, and deadlines for achieving milestones. It's so important that you set goals and you are able to identify what the goals are, because them are the goals that you need to meet, and within them deadlines. So then again, objective setting. So we've got the SMART objectives, define SMART objectives for improving written communication. We've got specific, which is clearly state what aspects of written communication you want to enhance. So here your goals should include details of what you want to accomplish and what you want to identify. Measurable is established criteria to measure progress. So here you should be able to measure your progress and accurately determine whether you've accomplished your goals or not. Achievable, ensure goals are realistic and attainable. Your goals here should challenge you. And then realistic, align objectives with overall communication improvement. And here you need to be realistic. And then you need to look at the time bound set, so deadlines for achieving, and the time limit as well. A SMART goal is used to help guide goal setting. SMART is an acronym that stands, as we mentioned, for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. And therefore, SMART goal incorporates all of these criteria to help focus your efforts and increase the chances of achieving your goals. When you set a SMART goal for yourself, you lose that accountability and motivation. You are on your own, and a SMART goal will do nothing for you when things get hard, and things will get hard. It's too easy to give up, which is why only 8% of people who set goals achieve them. So it's really important that you follow your SMART goals. An example of a SMART goal could be, I will drink 8 ounces of water 3 times a day. And then I will walk briskly for 30 minutes 5 times per week. I will reduce my soda intake to no more than 2 cans per day. So these are goal settings, and these are important in regards to trying to set your objectives. The SMART objective goals are effective because they are designed to be realistic. So when a goal is realistic, it's more likely that you complete the goal. SMART goals are also designed to be measurable, so you will know when you have completed them, and then acknowledge your accomplishment. So it's really good to have SMART goals into place. Monitoring development plans. Regular monitoring progress against the development plan. Adjust strategies based on ongoing feedback. As we mentioned earlier, on observations, it's really important you adjust your plan so that it meets the needs of your feedback. Okay, review and amend objectives. So periodically review developmental objectives and make adjustments as needed. Adapt goals based on changes in your role, responsibilities, or types of written communication you frequently encounter. Listening skills. We mentioned a little bit about this earlier. Reviewing the effectiveness of personal listening skills through feedback and personal reflection is a valuable process. Seek feedback from colleagues, friends, or supervisors who have observed your listening skills. Ask for specific examples of instances where your listening skills have been affected or improvements are needed. Request the feedback to comprehend. Personal review. Reflect on your own experience and interactions where listening played a crucial role. Consider your level of engagement during conversations and whether you actively listened or were more passive. Identify situations where your listening skills were strong and those where improvements could be made. Again, responding to constructive criticism, approach feedback with an open mind. It's very important that you approach everything with an open mind and take on board any sort of developments that need to be made. Attentiveness and presence. Reflect on your ability to stay attentive and present during conversations. Evaluate whether you are easily distracted or if you maintain focus on the speaker. Identify any external factors that may affect your attentiveness during discussions. And empathy and understanding. Assess your ability to empathize and understand others' perspectives during conversations. Also, consider whether you actively seek to comprehend the emotions and concerns expressed by the speaker, and identify instances where your empathy positively contribute to effective communication. So, you've got to be empathetic. You've got to be able to understand others' views, others' perspectives, because it makes the conversation more important. But also, if you're empathetic and you communicate well, you're able to identify any sort of flaws or any sort of emotions in the conversation. Verbal and non-verbal cues. Reflect on your use of verbal and non-verbal cues to demonstrate active listening. Consider whether you provide appropriate feedback, such as nodding, paraphrasing, or asking clarifying questions. Identify any unintentional non-verbal signs that may impact communication. Avoiding interruptions. Evaluate your tendency to interrupt during conversations. Consider whether you allow the speaker to express their thoughts fully before responding. Identify situations where interruptions may have hindered effective communication. So make sure you know that when you are communicating with someone, it's very important you identify any situations that or walk away from any situations that will interrupt that communication. Skills gap analysis, which we talked about earlier on, is to identify specific areas where improvement is needed. Compare your current listening skills to the desired level of proficiency. Ways to improve, so explore various methods for improving listening skills, such as active listening exercises, communication workshops, or mindfulness practices. Practice paraphrasing and summarizing to enhance understanding and demonstrate active engagement. Again, looking at the SMART objective, which we looked at earlier, for improving skills. Clearly, for the SMART objectives, the S would clearly state what aspects of listening skills you want to enhance. Measurable, establish criteria to measure progress. Achievable, ensure goals are realistic and attainable. And relevant, aligns objectives with an overall communication improvement. Time-bound, set deadlines for achieving each objective. The monitoring development plan, regularly monitor progress against the development plan, and adjust strategies based on ongoing feedback and observations. Reading skills. We looked at the importance of reading skills previously as well, and we looked at reviewing these reading skills, and personal reflection is crucial for self-development. Taking feedback from individuals, but also, looking at instances where your reading skills are effective and any improvement needed. Personal review here. We looked at reflecting on your own experiences where reading played a crucial role. Consider types of written communication. Identify situations where reading skills were strong and those where improvements are needed. And again, responding to constructive feedback to consider any sort of improvements. Reading comprehension, reflect on the ability to understand and grasp the concepts and the ideas from materials. Consider whether you effectively extract key information and details of different types of documents. Identifying challenges you face in comprehending complex or technical information. Critical reading. Assess your critical reading skills, including your ability to evaluate the credibility and relevance of the information. So whether the information is needed, whether it's important, and how you need to evaluate whether the information is relevant. Consider where you actively question and analyze the content of what you read. Identify instances where critical reading skills have been influenced by decision-making. Reading speed and efficiency. Reflect on your reading speed and efficiency, as this is a big impact on how you read and the speed you read at. Consider whether you adapt your reading speed based on complexity and urgency of the material. Identify any habits or factors that may impact on your reading pace. Note-taking and summarization. Evaluate your note-taking and summarization skills when processing written information. Consider whether your notes effectively capture key points and details. Identify instances where improved note-taking could enhance your understanding. Skills gap, again, to compare, look at conduct a skills gap to identify specific areas where improvement is needed. Compare your current reading skills to the desired level of proficiency. Prioritize areas for improvement. Ways to improve, explore various methods of improving your reading skills, such as speed, reading, techniques, note-taking strategies, and comprehension activities. And practice reading diverse materials to enhance your versatility and adaptability. Development planning, develop structured planning attainment steps to your reading skill to enhance your reading skills. Set realistic goals and deadlines for achieving improvement milestones, and consider seeking guidance or mentorship from individuals known for strong reading skills. Objective setting, SMART objectives. SMART objectives for improving reading skills. Specific is clearly state what aspects of reading skills you want to enhance. Measurable is to establish criteria to measure the progress. Achievable, ensure goals are realistic and attainable. Relevant is align objectives with overall communication improvement. And time-bound is set deadlines for achieving each objective. 4D1, produce a plan to improve personal communication skills. Objective, enhance verbal communication skill. The specific goal is to improve clarity and articulation in verbal communication. Measurable is to increase the ability to express ideas clearly in both professional and personal conversation. Achievable is practice enunciation and pronunciation regularly, and also record and analyze a sample of verbal communications to track your progress and see how well you're getting on. Relevant, enhancing verbal communication is crucial for effective interpersonal interactions and professional success. And the time-bound, dedicate 15 minutes daily to practice pronunciation and clarity, and review recorded samples weekly to assess any sort of improvements that have been made. Objectives to strengthening written communication skill. And these are the SMART goals for that. Specific goal to improve the clarity and conciseness of written communication. The M measurable to enhance the ability to convey messages clearly in written documents. The achievable is to practice summarizing information effectively. Use proofreading tools to identify and correct errors. The relevant is to clear and concise written communication is essential for professional correspondence and documentation. And the time bound is set aside 20 minutes daily for writing exercises, and review and edit written work before finalizing it, ensuring that it's accurate and there's clarity there. The next SMART goal is for the objective is strengthening listening skills. The Essence specific goal is to improve active listening and empathy during conversations. The measurable is to increase the ability to paraphrase and respond appropriately to others' ideas. The achievable is to practice reflective listening in both professional and personal interactions, and seek feedback from conversation partners, which will help you improve your listening skills and strengthen them. The relevant is to actively listening is crucial for building strong relationships and understanding others. And the time bound for this would be to dedicate 10 minutes after each conversation for reflection, and actively practice paraphrasing during daily interactions. And you know, make sure that you are setting this as a goal so that you are able to identify and complete your objective. The objective for enhancing reading skills, the specific goal is to improving reading comprehension and speed. The measurable for this would be to increase the ability to extract key information from written materials. The achievable would be to practice speed reading techniques regularly to improve your reading skills, to utilize note-taking strategies to enhance comprehension. And the relevant is to have strong reading skills are essential for staying informed and making informed decisions. And the time bound here would be to allocate yourself 15 minutes daily for speed reading exercises, because they will make you enhance whether you're going too fast or too slow. Take structured notes while reading complex materials. Professional development opportunities. Here you would attend workshops, explore workshops or courses on effective communication, because it's really important in any business to have an effective communication. Also to engage in seminars or training sessions that focus on specific communication skills. Mentorship. Now here, mentorship is very important because your mentor will help you, guide you and support you on issues of improvement and identify any sort of issue, any sort of professional development you need to, you know, improve your communication skills. So seek mentorship from individuals with strong communication skills, because they're the ones that are going to identify whether there's a need for you to improve or adapt, or also they will be the ones that will maybe, you know, identify if there's any need for training. Also, regularly discuss progress and receive guidance on improvement areas. So it's good to have constructive feedback. It's good to get guidance and support to identify where you need improvements. In conclusion, this plan combines daily practices, measurable goals, and ongoing feedback to systematically enhance personal communication skills. It emphasizes the importance of both self-directed improvement and seeking external guidance for a well-rounded development strategy. So communication skills is really important in any business. And there's a need, you know, for communication skills everywhere you go in any business. You know, we need to improve different skills, and it's good to have criticism because it identifies that you are able to make any sort of improvement. In today's society, communication today is very important, both in the business and in the private world. Successful communication helps us better understand people and situations, and it helps us overcome any sort of, you know, diversities, builds trust and respect, and creates conditions for sharing ideas and solving problems. You know, it's so important. It allows people from all different levels to speak linguistically together and, you know, identify if there's any issues. Some of the most important communication skills in a business is things like active listening, as we mentioned earlier, non-verbal communication. Feedback from others is really important to improve any sort of communication skills by learning how to listen, noticing any sort of non-verbal cues, as we mentioned earlier, and practicing oral communication and having a mentor there to, you know, help you. Effective communication, again, as we mentioned, concluded, is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge and data so that the message received and understood with clarity and purpose. When we communicate effectively, both the sender and receiver feel satisfied. So we've finished learning outcome 4 on business communication. These are the references that have been used for today's session. And also try to have a look at these references, will help you with your assignment. The plenary is to look at ebooks and journals on Moodle for this unit. There's further reading, additional sources on Moodle that you can go on. If there's any questions or any queries, please email learnerwork@ukvarsity.co.uk. Submission of your assignment is 2 weeks after the completion of the unit. So we've completed this unit now on business communication. The last session we have on this is on the assignment session we'll be looking at next week. After that, you have 2 weeks to complete the assignment and submit on learnerwork@ukvarsity. Thank you for attending this session, and thank you for your cooperation, and I will see you in the next session. Thank you.